What's up, guys? Today I'm doing a video on de-rimming tanks. I've got a 10-gallon and a few other tools here that I'll show you in a second, but I know there's a few videos already out there about de-rimming 10 gallons and de-rimming tanks, but I do it a different way than what I've typically seen. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it the way I do it. And the other way that I have seen sketches me out. It led to me cracking a tank. I've done it multiple times. It usually works, but it can get a little bit sketchy and it can lead to a tank cracking. So I changed the way I do it, and I've never had an issue with it since then. But yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a run through of the safest possible way, in my opinion, to de-rim a tank. So for materials, you're going to need a tank, obviously. I don't recommend doing above 10 gallons. I've never had an issue with a 10-gallon being de-rimmed. I've had one up for over a year with zero issues. Still have one, a cracked one. I've had tons of these things. But 15 gallons is kind of iffy. I thought about I might do a video on de-rimming 20 gallons and testing it. But so far I haven't gone above 10. Obviously below 10 is probably fine. I haven't done that either. But 10 gallons is usually the standard size that I do de-rimming on. But other materials, you'll need a putty knife. The thinner the better. This is just a little bendy one. You're going to need razor blades. I'll show you how to use those later. And my method, which is different than other people's methods, uses a Dremel. And I'll show you how to use all this stuff to do it now. Alright, so the way you're going to use the putty knife is you're going to just slide it directly under the rim like that. And you should be able to kind of see the outline of it under the rim. And literally just go along the edge. Like that. And what you're doing is you're disconnecting the rim. See how that moves now? It's not going to do that over here at all, but this is really loose. That's almost probably about to come off. But you're disconnecting the silicone from the rim, the silicone is what bonds the rim to the tank. So you're separating the tank from the rim. This one actually might come off fairly easily without having to cut or do the method that I do. But just to be safe, I'm still going to do it because it's what the video is about. But you just want to go around all four corners, come all the way to the edges. So go all the way from one end as far as you can. It's going to take some muscle to kind of cut some of this. Get all the way to the very edge of the rim. So all the way down. And this is why you want something that can bend and as thin as possible, because you're going right up against the glass. And then obviously on the inside still, and make sure everything is disconnected there. And then we get into the difference between my method and the other methods. The other methods will just literally tell you to kind of rock this back and forth and slowly disconnect it and slowly pry at this. But the thing about that is if you're pulling this and the joints are kind of connected, it's going to, so as this pulls, it's pulling this down because it's a solid piece. So every time you pull over here or pull over here, it's torquing the glass on another corner of the tank. So accidentally, you could be trying to disconnect this part and then crack the tank over there, which is what I did in the past. So what I do is I take a Dremel. Should probably have this plugged in already. But yeah. I take the Dremel and I cut every corner. So I'll move the camera to give you guys a better view of that. So you want to take all just along this line and disconnect the two edges. So as you pull on one edge of the rim, it's not pulling at this. So you can just literally take each individual corner or side off without having to worry about cracking other sides. You have to be a little bit careful with this because if you cut too deep into this, you might scratch the glass or possibly, cut the glass a little bit, which I've done just barely on the top one time, but nothing really that's ever done any damage. But yeah, you're not going to be able to hear me when this goes on. But yeah. Also, a little amendment to the materials list. Safety goggles. You're gonna want those because stuff will go all over the place with this Dremel. Just get this last little cut here. You can see all the way through the black to the glass and the silicone underneath. All the way through there and there. So now whenever you pull at this, whenever this is being kind of pulled up, it won't torque on this. So it's much safer. You're not going to crack anything. And that's really the only difference between my method and the other methods that I've seen. So now once you get all 4 corners cut, you just go back to the silicone and start cutting on all the corners and slowly kind of wiggling back and forth, and you'll hear the silicone start to pull apart. Like, I don't know if you can hear it there, but this one's almost about ready to come off anyways. You can hear that noise. But yeah, once you do that, it's just a lot safer to start pulling at all this stuff because you don't have to worry about it cracking on the other edges. But yeah, I'm gonna cut all 3 corners and start working on getting the silicone off and then show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so now other than the bead that runs along the top, all of the silicone on the sides of the panels should be scraped off. So what you're gonna do now is just kind of peel it upwards, get your fingers under the rim, and you'll hear it start to separate. Oop. That happens too, but luckily it's not attached to any of the other panels anymore, so it doesn't break it. So this actually happens most of the time when I DRAM tanks. But these will break off, and which actually makes this part way easier because it literally just comes directly off now that it doesn't have that backing piece to hold it in place. So just like that. Voila. And then you do that on all 4 sides, and then you use the razor blades. Come on. There we go. This one looks like it's going to come up a little bit easier. Once you get part of it broken away from the silicone, you can just slowly continue pulling down the rim. Sometimes it cracks like that. It doesn't break the glass because it's already disconnected from the other pieces and there's not a lot of torque going on the actual glass at this point. Come on. But yeah, that's how you do this. Don't worry if you break the rims. You've already cut all 4 corners, so you're not going to reuse it anyways. But yeah, I'm going to continue pulling these off and then I'll show you guys how to use the razors. Alright, so I've gone ahead and removed all the panels, all the rim panels, and started to clean up this panel and this panel of silicone. This back panel and that back panel still have to be cleaned, but basically the way you do it is you take your razor blade, you're going to go through a lot, and you really just kind of, if I can get, it doesn't look like there's that much on this inside part, actually. Let's go on the outside. Just like that. And you're going to need to make a few passes because you can see that only took out kind of like a line. I just wanted to make a little note. A good technique to do it, say there was like a bead of silicone right here, press the like razor blade firmly up against the edge of the tank. Like don't like torque it at all because that's how you get scratches. But just put a little bit more pressure on the corner and kind of shave upward, and that's a good way to just slowly get rid of all of it. But yeah, this is what it'll look like when it's done. Nice and clean, rimless tank without spending lots of money. But yeah, I do know that there are other videos out there on deramming tanks. Like I said, I just think that this is the best method that I've found, so it's what I do every single time. And yeah, that's really it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time.